What's up, TW fans? Jake here, bringing you another episode of What's New Tackle Warehouse. We're into mid-August. It's super hot out there. Hopefully you're getting out there and enjoying some fishing, even though it's rough weather. Maybe do a little bit of night fishing to escape the heat. So let's jump right into it. Got a few things for you today. First one, new reel from Daiwa. We got the new Revros LT. So this reel, super awesome. Comes in at a great price point, depending on the size. I believe they go from 59 to 79 bucks. And, you know, a bunch of great technology from some of their higher end reels has made it down into this guy. They got their Zion body, but mainly the air drive design, which consists of the air rotor and air bail. So, I mean, that thing is super, super lightweight. But what's great is, I mean, it takes almost zero effort to crank this reel and to get that rotor to spin. So it almost feels effortless when you're cranking this reel. Super sharp looking reel. Love the colorway on it. Crazy smooth drag, got a really nice noise on there. If you're looking for something, you know, in kind of that price range, you're gonna get a ton of performance out of this reel. I believe I have one of these in a 5,000 that I've used for surf fishing for 4 or 5 years now, and it's held up great. I've got a ton of miles on that thing, so you'll definitely get a bunch of use out of one of these. So if you're looking for a reel kind of in that range, I definitely want to check out the Revros from Daiwa. All right, from Booyah, we got some new frog kits. We got the junior pad crasher kits. So depending on the model you got, they got, you know, popping frogs and some, or their standard frogs. This one's got a couple of both. Man, and if I didn't already have a box of 3,700 deep with like 200 frogs in it, I would definitely want to check one of these out and pick one up. So if you're getting into frog fishing, or just save you a little bit of money, actually, if you buy this 4-pack, you're going to save a little bit versus buying all 4 frogs separately. So get a little variety, just beef up that frog arsenal. Now is probably one of the best times to be out there throwing a frog. Into summer, you know, tons of mats around, and then coming into the fall, they really, really get on that frog bite, so you want to stock up and have a couple frogs in your arsenal for this time of the year. From JSJ, we got a new swim bait. This is the Loose Caboose swim bait. So our buddies over at Tactical Bassin, Matt and Tim, have been working with JSJ on making this bait for quite some time now, and we just got these into stock. Now this is it's a bigger swim bait, 7 inches, weighs 3 ounces, but it's not a huge swim bait. I mean, 2-pounders eat this bait, no problem. What we like about this bait is all the detailing on it. So, I mean, it really has a nice bait fish profile. And then with all the fins on there, I mean, it just really comes to life in the water. And just, it's a little bit, you know, has more detail than some of the other, you know, soft plastic swim baits on the market. So when it's in the water, I mean, those fins are gonna move and you just get that secondary, more realistic action. Premium top hook on the top. I mean, the colors are awesome, but the main thing is that tail. That tail, super aggressive kicking action, so really wide, you know, strong boot tail kick action, and then it gets that body to roll side to side. So really cool swim bait. If you're looking for something to throw, you know, you can drag this thing along the bottom and you know, just barely tick it along, and that boot tail will kick back and forth, or you can swim it mid-water column. You can throw it up shallow and reel it fast. Just a tons of stuff you can do with this style of swim bait from JSJ. From War Eagle, we got a new jig. This is gonna be another good one to have in your arsenal right now. So if you're out fishing a lot of offshore stuff, a lot of offshore humps, islands, you know, deep points, stuff like that, these football jigs are really hard to beat. So War Eagle's got their new Pro Series football jig. This one comes in 3/4 ounce, and you know, they got some really cool designs on the head there. Kind of has like a scallop finish to it. Got a semi-recessed line tie, but like I said, you know, 3/4 ounce football jig, great bait to have right now tied on. Put your favorite trailer on there, throw it out, and you can work these things really aggressively this time of year. Really hop them up off the bottom and get those reaction strikes. You know, there's sometimes when this is kind of the way to go when they've seen, you know, 15 crankbaits already come by on a ledge or an offshore hump. Throwing a jig down there might get you a few bites. And then, you know, football jigs are going to be great upcoming in the fall and all the way through winter time. So new jig from War Eagle. Got a nice hook on there, premium 4/0. It's kind of a medium wire hook. So you can make a really long bomber cast with it and you're not going to have any problem getting plenty of hook penetration with it. A bunch of cool colors and multiple sizes. Nice weed guard on there, durable powder coating. Nice jig from War Eagle. Now, got a couple new interesting baits. The first one from Reins. This is their new tank worm. So there's been a lot of these baits coming out in the last year or two. Is these small, kind of really dense, heavy-duty, soft plastic, small stick baits. So the key with these is they're made out of really dense material with a ton of salt in them, so they're really heavy. So you can cast them really, really far, and you fish them on, weightless EWG style hook, and you don't need to weight with them because they're so heavy. So they sink really fast, and you can fish them down in deep water. And another thing, you might think a weightless worm more of a finesse technique. You actually fish it on your casting equipment, 15, 20-pound line, no problems. What I noticed about this bait is the kind of section in the middle, and how large this tail section is. So it's gonna wobble and have a ton of action. And then just the small feature, that little piece of plastic up there on the back to put your hook point in to keep it perfectly weedless, and then it's not gonna just tear the back up, and you're not gonna have a hole on there that your hook keeps coming in and out, and eventually just doesn't hold it at all. So nice little feature there by Reins. Now kind of on the smaller end of the spectrum from Geecrack, we got the Ima Kamushi stick bait, so I'm probably butchering that name for sure. This is the smaller of the two sizes. This is actually a floating material, and what they've done with these is we've carried a few of these in the past in bigger sizes. Now we got the smaller one with all these little legs on there, and they said they've really built this to mimic small bugs on the surface, which when I read that, I wish we would have had this a couple weeks ago when we were at ICAST. Me and some of the guys were fishing at the pond behind the hotel, and it didn't matter how small we went down on our top water, the fish were just coming up and only eating bugs, and it's, we would have killed to have something like this to throw out there and get some of those fish to bite when you couldn't catch them on anything else, and they were really, really keyed in on bugs. So, ultra finesse bait, like I said, this is the smaller of the two sizes. We do have one a little bit bigger as well. So something to play around with, throw on a spinning rod. You can skip it up underneath docks, overhanging limbs. Summertime when all the bugs are out and fish are really concentrated on, different hatches of bugs, that might be something you want to throw. Maybe trigger a few bites when nothing else can. From Mustad, we got a bunch of soft plastics. This first one here is their rock lobster. They're gearing these more towards inshore and saltwater, but I mean, this looks just like a little crawdad. You can throw it as a jig trailer. No problem. Even thinking, a small jig head or even a net head, this thing would pretty much would excel on that. Bunch of really cool colors, and just the detailing on this one alone. Doesn't matter what you do with this, it's going to look just like a little crawdad on there. You can even drop shot it if you want. Made out of a tougher material, since they are gearing it towards those more inshore species. These things are going to just hold up really well to those inshore fish with teeth, and that usually tear baits up. So if you're looking for a little, cross style bait, something like that, they got you covered there. And then they got the new, the Z-tail minnow, and then the curl tail. Pretty similar baits, just the different tail designs. The body on it, it's flat sides, and then again, made out of that super tough material. So super, super strong. And then on the tail on this one, it kind of has a little bit of a scoop in it, and it kind of squared off. So, I mean, it takes very little effort to get that tail to kick. And I love the flat sides on it. So if you get a little bit of roll on it, it actually flashes like a live bait fish. And then with the curl tail, just gonna have more of a straight swimming action versus a side to side. One thing I noticed that's really cool about these baits is the eyes on them. It's actually impregnated into the plastic, and it's one piece that goes all the way through the bait. So it's not going to rip off of one side. I mean, that's one of the things I've hated about soft plastic swim baits. You catch a ton of fish on them, and they get ripped up, rip the eyes off. That piece is all the way through the middle, so you're never going to lose it. Really cool little baits there from Mustad. Last up, from Lakewood, we got the new Swimbait Vault. So just a little bit smaller than some of the other Lakewood boxes that we've carried. I really like this size. It's not crazy huge. Some of the other ones we got, I believe you can hold 24, 36 baits in some of them. They're pretty large. I have one that just stays in the garage, but this thing is going to be awesome for taking on the boat, and it just doesn't take as much space as some of the other boxes. It's made to hold 8 baits. So it's got the hangers in here. It's got the slots you can actually hang stuff on the dividers as well. Really cool swim bait box. And like I said, if you don't want to have just swim baits on your boat, if you just need to take a little selection of them and not the entire arsenal, this is going to be a good way to go. They got a spot here you can label them on the handle. So if you want to kind of divide your swim baits out and not have them in one big giant box, get a couple of these and you can divide them kind of by style or whatever, and take the ones that you need for that day. But all the Lakewood boxes, they're rock solid. I mean, the other boxes, you can literally stand on top of them. They're they're built to last. Super stoked with having those and being able to store those really expensive swim baits and keep them in top quality condition. That's going to wrap up today's episode of What's New in TW. For more information or to check out any stuff seen here today, make sure to click shop or link in the description below. If you enjoyed this week's video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments which one of these products you're most excited about.